So here's what I'm dealing with. We have 6 CSV files, 6 different regions. I need to know who submitted their numbers, what the revenue looks like, and whether anyone sent me incomplete data. Now, normally that means opening each file one by one, scanning through it, closing it, opening the next one. You know the drill. Instead, watch this. I'm going to change the month here. Let's go to July. And instantly I can see who submitted. So everyone submitted for July. If I switch to August, everyone submitted. I can see total revenue. I can see if any data is missing or not. If I switch to September, oh, some people haven't submitted. So what it's doing here is that it's going with formulas inside the CSV files and grabbing the information. I don't have to open a single CSV file, which also reduces mistakes because my mouse might shake and delete some parts by mistake. And not only that, I have one place of control, which is this file. And on top, I can also dig into a CSV file if I want. So for example, let me just expand this. If I want to check details for Northeast, here it is. This is going in the CSV file and grabbing everything. So let me show you how I built this. It's way easier than you think. And I'm also going to leave the file link in the description so you can try it out on your own. Okay, so let's rewind starting from the scenario. So why you should even care that Excel has this new function. Let's say you manage a team or department, and every month you get CSV files from different regions, like these, right? So here's a preview of the CSV file. Now, this could be sales data, it could be expense reports, headcount, whatever. The files land in a folder. This could also be a SharePoint folder or OneDrive, doesn't matter. Your job is to figure out what's there, what's missing, and whether the data is actually clean before you can even start to do your real work. So first thing we want to do is tell Excel where those files are. And this part is actually very simple. All we have to do is select these files. So I'm just holding down the Shift key and using the arrow keys, then right-click, copy as path. Then go to Excel. Let's go over here and Control V. Okay, so this is the file path for Northeast. This one is for Southeast and so on. Now this is where it gets really good. Excel has a relatively new function called IMPORTCSV. Let's start here, type in IMPORTCSV. All you need to do is give it the file path and it pulls in the CSV data right into your spreadsheet. There's no Power Query, there's no VBA, there's no opening the file, just a formula. All we have to do is give it a path. Let's give it the Northeast path. And that's basically the only requirement. The rest are optional. If I just press enter, look at that. The entire CSV just spills right into the sheet. We have products, here we have months, and this is our revenue numbers. All from one, I'm sure you agree, very simple formula. Right now, IMPORTCSV is pointing to one specific CSV file, but the whole point of a dashboard is to be able to switch between regions. So let's make this dynamic. Let's add a drop-down for our different CSV files, basically for our different regions here. I'm going to go to Data, Data Validation, switch this to List. For source, let's add in these names and OK. So let's point to Northeast for now. This is currently pointing to this. I want to be able to look up my selection from here and then figure out the right path. So here you can use your favorite lookup function. I'm going to use XLOOKUP. So for path here, instead of fixing it, we're going to go with a lookup function. The lookup value is this. I'm looking it up in here and I'm returning these. That's it. Let's enter. Okay, we need 2 brackets here. Let's OK this. Now I'm going to switch to Southeast. We get Southeast data. Let's go to Midwest. Let's go to West Coast. Ooh, they're missing September data, right? It's super easy to make this dynamic. Now, before we go further, there are 5 important points to keep in mind. Number 1, if your file is on SharePoint or on OneDrive and you're collaborating with others, you can use the web HTTPS link here, right? You just have to authenticate through your organizational account. Number 2, If your data in the CSV files changes, you'll have to refresh. So just go to Data, Refresh All, and you're going to pull through the updated information. Number 3, you have control what data in your CSV files you bring over and what you want to skip. So for example, let me just remove this and let's just do import CSV. Say the path is this. If I want to skip some rows, let's say I have multiple header rows, I can put a 2 here to skip 2 rows. A negative number skips rows from the bottom. Now you can also decide which rows to take. Again, a negative number takes rows from the bottom. The number 4 important thing is that you can account for regional differences. Let's say you're in Germany, your operating system is in German. Let's say you receive CSV files from a US company, and in those CSV files, dots are decimals. In your operating system, commas are decimals, right? Same applies to days. US has months first. Most other places have day first. To make sure that you don't end up with weird results, you can add the locale of the CSV files here. If you're downloading these files, you would want to add EN US to make sure that everything works well, no matter what your operating system is, because this says that the CSV files have a US locale. The number 5 important thing is that if your files use another delimiter, so let's say not a comma, but a semicolon, which is common in Europe, then you're going to want to use the sister function, which is IMPORTTEXT. This function allows you to choose the delimiter of your choice. Okay, but if you're dealing with standard comma separated files, so standard CSV files, then IMPORTCSV is going to do. So I'm just going to press Ctrl-Z to go back to our original formula. Now, I'm not such a fan of having the file paths like this. It just makes the report look a bit messy. We can hide these. One way is, if you want to be a bit sneaky, is to change the font color to match the background color, or you can use custom number formatting. So if I highlight these, press Ctrl-1 to go to Format Cells, let's go to Custom, just add semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. This would hide the values, but instead of hiding, I want the link emoji. So I'm going to use Windows dot, and I can see it right here. Let's select that. Now we can see in the preview, that's what we're going to get in the cells. Let's just go and update the alignment. I can also make these smaller, and let's change the color to a lighter gray. This is a lot cleaner. Now we can see that in the cell, we still have the path, right? So nothing is lost. It's just a display trick using custom number formatting to make the cell show something else, right? It's just a nice way of keeping things looking neat. Now there's so much you can do with custom formatting. It's one of my favorite techniques. And by the way, in our courses, no matter what topics we cover, whether it's pivot tables, whether it's Power Query, Power Pivot, we always have a section to create nice looking dynamic reports, and you learn a lot of additional tricks there, aside from the main topic that you sign up for. Okay, so now let's continue building the top part of our report. I want to add a drop down here for the month, so that the first thing I want to know is that for each region, did they actually submit their data for the selected month? If someone hasn't sent their September numbers, for example, I want to be able to see it here. So let's go ahead and add the drop-down, data validation, list. Now I have a list of months on the side here, select that, and now I can switch between the different months. Now, how do I check whether each file contains that month? Well, we can see the structure of each file here. Months are on the first row. So let's actually use IMPORTCSV and bring over just that first row. The link for each CSV file is right here. Now I'm going to take advantage of the take rows argument, and I'm just going to take the first row. So if I close the bracket and press enter, I get the first row returned. Now I can check whether this month is included here. I'll use XMATCH for that. My lookup value is this. I'm going to use F4 to fix it because I'm planning to pull the formula down. my lookup array is here. Now let's just close the bracket. If there is a match, I'm going to get a number returned, and this is the position of this month. So if I go to March, for example, I get 4. March is the 4th position. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. If the month doesn't exist, I'm going to get #NA. Now, this doesn't really look professional and nice in a dashboard, so I'm going to combine this with an if function and check whether I get an error or not. So I can go with ISNA. My value is this. So basically, if I get an error, what do I want returned? I want to see a big X. Let's use an emoji here, Windows dot. I'll go with this one in quotes, right? Because we're typing text in a formula, we need the quotes. Otherwise, I want the check mark. That's it. Close the bracket. We get X's here for all the CSV files because we don't have October data anywhere. If I switch to July, everyone has submitted. If I switch to September, some haven't submitted. Now, it would be nice to color code these. So select your range, go to Home, Conditional Formatting, New Rule, Format only cells that contain cell value is equal to, let's bring up the Windows emoji. If it's a check mark, I want to have a green font. I'm going to go with this one. Let's okay this. That looks nice. I would actually like a second rule for the X's as well. So let's go back to conditional formatting and add a rule for the crosses. So if the cell value equals to this cross, I want it to be, let's go with this orange and okay. Now it's immediately obvious who's on track and who isn't. Now let's take a look at total revenue. I'm not going to set this up from scratch, but here is the end result. It's using the same pattern. I'm also using CHOOSECOLS to grab the correct month, and then I'm using SUM to sum it up. If the month is missing, we're returning a dash here. Okay, so this way we're able to sum up an entire column from a CSV file that we're not even loading into our file. This one for missing data is a bit longer, so that's the formula I came up with. This time I'm also using the LEN function and the SUMPRODUCT function to figure out which cells are missing from the month, basically which cells are blank. Now you might be wondering why I'm not using the COUNTBLANK function. COUNTBLANK works if your data is on the grid, right? So if I would be referencing a column here, it would work, but COUNTBLANK doesn't work if it's referencing an array that's being returned by a formula. So in this case, I decided to use this combination. So what this tells us is that Northeast is not missing any data for September. Basically, every single cell is filled, but Southeast is missing one. So if I switch to Southeast, we should see that here, this product is missing information for September, and if we might want to follow up with them. We didn't have to open multiple CSV files to check this. We can do that all here from our dashboard. Okay, so that's IMPORTCSV. Obviously, you have Power Query. If you want to combine and clean the data from the CSV files, it's going to be much easier to use Power Query. But this way, we can set up a quick checking tool without using Power Query, without using VBA or macros, just very simple formulas. And this dashboard maybe just took 15 minutes to set up, but we can reuse it every single month, and that's going to save us a lot of time. And plus, you can just download this from the link in the description and adjust it to suit your needs. Okay, so let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm going to catch you in the next one.